think the reason Socrates said, "Know thyself," is because that simple phrase implies that consciousness gets in touch with unconsciousness. Because we are not just conscious, right? We also have behavior patterns that are based on complete unconsciousness. You could say that we inherit instincts from the animal kingdom, not just instincts, but also every psychological pattern that evolution has created thus far. And when we try to know ourselves, we're essentially trying to come into contact with those aspects of ourselves that are still ruled by a behavioral pattern of unconsciousness. And I think this is the basis of spiritual growth and personal growth. Because as you know yourself, you no longer choose drama, you no longer choose pain, you no longer choose all those things. I mean, maybe you want to choose pain in the sense that you work out or work through something, but you would no longer choose an unconscious pattern that creates pain in others. There's many levels of knowing, right? You could talk to a therapist for a couple of hours and realize that some old childhood patterns are still manifesting in the way you interact today. And then you have intellectual knowledge about this. But there's also a deeper level of knowing, which is the part of you that engages in those patterns directly. Anything that you feel to be true, whether you know it's not true, some deep aspect of you is still in unconsciousness. Like often, feelings are true in the sense that, you feel genuine love to some of your friends. But then there's also feelings that are not very true, where you feel like someone said something bad about you, and this is just because you've experienced the situation over and over again in the past, and then you project the past onto the present and it feels very true, and you think everybody's lying to you. I mean, this is an extreme example of some sort of paranoia, but it also manifests more mildly in many ways. In relationships, interpersonal relationships, we constantly project how we've been treated in the past onto the present moment, and we feel and think it's true. And that type of pattern comes out of unconsciousness. And then if someone tells you intellectually that you're just reiterating the past, it doesn't really help as much as if you know that the truth on a feeling level. So the question is, what allows us to get to know those deep patterns of ourselves? What is it that allows us to bring consciousness into aspects of ourselves that are still in unconsciousness? And I don't think there's a simple answer. There really isn't, because for some people this works, for some people that works. I think what has helped me throughout my struggles is the continuous effort to try to be present while experiencing uncomfortable emotions. Trying to be present means that you feel an emotion fully. You don't push it away. But at the same time, you also know that it might not be true, and that you do not need to follow it. And that's really difficult, especially with heavy patterns. And I wouldn't say that I always manage to apply that tool and always stay totally conscious. I drift in and out of being conscious and being captured by some sort of psychological pattern that really makes me think something is true or should do. And I experience this very strongly with cravings. I'm stopping to drink coffee right now and alcohol. Not because I've been doing a lot of it, just because I want to see how that habit is now affecting me. And if any habit, it becomes a craving, right? So now I feel like I have a craving to have a coffee, and that craving feels true. And if I don't stay aware of this craving, it will find a reason why I should drink coffee, right? It will then say, well, you have a lot to do, you feel sluggish, you should really drink coffee. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe I should. But I'm not doing that. So I'm just trying to stay present with the craving of drinking coffee and feeling the sensation of where that sluggishness is, and then bringing consciousness into it instead of coffee. So I think this really applies to any psychological pattern. Like when you notice a strong emotion trying to take you over, you can stay present with it and know that it might not be true, and know that you can feel it fully. You have every right to feel any emotion. But having the right to feel an emotion does not mean that acting on that emotion would be beneficial for your life or the people around you. So I think that's a really big essential difference, because a lot of the time people that have strong emotion would say, well, I have the fucking right to feel this. And yes, you do. But do you really want to scream at your friends because you have the right to do so, or the right to feel that? Or would you rather feel that emotion and ask yourself, where is it coming from? How fully can I feel it without following an aggressive thought or craving thought or clinging thought or fearful thought? Like without creating concepts around the feeling and then just suspending that feeling. And that is really the process of getting to know yourself on a deep level, because then you're getting to know yourself on a feeling level, and it takes time. It's not like something there's a simple answer to it. It's just a process that anyone can begin to cultivate. It's a discipline, right? The discipline of continuously deepening your self-knowledge. But it's hugely beneficial because it starts to fill your whole body with joy. The more you cultivate self-knowledge, the more you feel that your awareness is really present in every aspect of your body and yourself, the more joy you feel. So it's definitely a journey worth taking. Pace and love.